The theme music plays, the transitions happen, it's bam!
There it is.
Jeff's here, you got to give it to him.
Bam! Wow. Let's go.
That happens every
Friday,
show.
baby.
Like, every time he does that, there's this
Damn, that's
levels get blown out.
Wow.
right? Directors and everything are going.
Everybody jumps. What are you
For
gonna
real.
do, man?
I'm adjusting volume.
Mike
so
brings
normally,
it, baby.
as the graphic says, it's Bill, Alex, and Mike. Today, sitting in the featured seat is Jeff Cole.
Hey.
Our local audience is familiar.
Correct.
25 years at Fox 29?
25.
25
Yep.
years.
25 years at Fox 29 doing some cool stuff that we're going to talk about
Correct.
for the next half an hour. Fox Soul audience, this is Jeff Cole, and we're going to share those experiences. But you're retiring today.
For your Fox Soul audience,
Yeah, for everybody. You're retiring
John
today.
Coltrane lived in the city of Philadelphia for a while.
Right.
And if
Okay.
you're not familiar with John Coltrane, which you absolutely should be, you should go listen to John
There you go.
Coltrane.
100%.
Because that is a level of music that has not, I don't think, truly been repeated. And remember, I'm sorry to sort of get off point here.
There is no point.
There is no point. You are the point, Jeff.
Remember that, when Public TV did that whole documentary on jazz. Who's the great Public TV documentarian?
Now you're stumping me.
Who does everybody? I should
you're
know, but
stumping me. Yeah.
and the audience will probably know. He did jazz, and so he does the whole genre of jazz in this country. But he gets to Coltrane,
Okay.
and in Coltrane, he talks about Coltrane being in Philadelphia and shows a picture of an African-American child sort of running up what is a neighborhood that has not been serviced particularly well, and plays Coltrane's music, under it, and it was moving, that portion that he did on John Coltrane. Anyway, for the soul audience, Coltrane lived here. He lived in Strawberry Mansion. There is an incredible, as you know, a painting of him in Strawberry Mansion, and so for you folks who are looking for music, there's somebody to listen to.
There you go.
There you
There's
go.
the start.
This is part of the reason why we wanted to spend his last half an hour here at Fox 29 doing this, because you've been here
26 years.
So
Yeah, yeah,
you've been
yeah.
here Jeff's entire time here.
Yes.
So I've only been here 10 now. And these stories and learning and the knowledge and the experiences and the toughness, it's going to be missed.
It's journalists like Jeff, you know what I mean, Bruce Gordon's, Dave Stratweiser, Joyce Evans. Like, when I came in, even though Jeff came in a year or two behind me, I think I'm 27 years now, whatever it is, but it was guys like you, man, and journalists like
I'm
you.
laughing because y'all both have pensions.
But you don't have no kids.
I'm sitting here.
Yeah, but you had no kids, so you
I
still
came
winning,
a little
Bill.
bit
Yeah.
So you still
That's
winning.
right,
yeah.
He doesn't have
what I
college
mean?
costs.
Right, you ain't got no
Figure it out.
college costs. You still winning, bro.
Right.
So, but like, you guys made me take the job of being a journalist serious, man. Like, for me, it was a gig. I'm here, I'm working, I do my 9 to 5, I go home. But then I watched how you guys did the job and how serious y'all took the title of being a journalist. And I was like, yo, that's who I am? Then I need to step my
Wow.
game up,
That's
because I
interesting.
need to really be able to, when I'm done, I need for people to be able to say,
Yeah.
yo, Mike was really a stand-up dude, a stand-up journalist, man. And he really did a lot to service the city. And I think you guys, man, like I said, the names that I said prior to you,
Walter
man,
Gordon.
you guys really did a hell of a job servicing this city, man.
So, for your viewers who don't know those folks, that's Dave Stratweiser, and you folks know him, but Stratweiser, who did amazing work on the mob in the city. I mean, there were literally mob
Yes.
hits.
Yeah.
Mob hits in the city of Philadelphia so Stratweiser did a lot of that great work. Joyce Evans, of course, who knew this city so well, had worked at the CBS station, and then was over here. Bruce Gordon, who covered politics in a really smart way. And so we were all together sort of working in the same place. And it was great to work with those colleagues, also competitive. I mean, you wanted to be the person who broke the story. So I think in part that's what that was. But yeah, I came here in March of 2000 to lead their investigative unit. And my interest is to sort of muckrake, and I always wanted to do it in a big urban center.
And he wasted no time.
This is it.
We got to tell some of those stories.
Time.
It's funny, you know. The Philadelphia Inquirer has done a piece on my leaving, and they asked me about this Angel Ortiz story, and Mr. Ortiz has now gotten some attention as
brought him back.
Attention that he might not want, but he's now gotten some attention as I've begun to depart, and I'll make sure to sort of cover this properly. But either way, when I did this piece on Ortiz, and what we reported is that he was driving a city vehicle, the city was self-insured, he was a member of city council, and that he was not licensed. Someone tipped me that he wasn't licensed. We followed him. We watched him drive the vehicle. I can remember maybe some kids were in the car, which also would have been prohibited in a city that is self-insured. And then I asked him, you got a license? And he did not.
TG, you seen the color leave his face, Bill.
Yeah.
This is when I was like, yo, Jeff is different. Because he left out the part about just a few days prior. He had just recently got here, and Jeff and I hung out at Angel's house.
We did.
We had tea with his mother-in-law. We met his kids.
We did.
He gave Jeff a book on the history of Philly.
We did.
And then a couple days later, Councilman, so I hear you've been driving for 20 years without a driver's license. And Angel was like, hey, Jeff, he was happy to see him. I said, yo, Jeff is different.
So I wasn't working here. I was in radio.
Oh, so you knew
And
it
we
had
saw,
happened.
and we talked, on radio, and I did a whole segment on the radio going, if you see Jeff Cole coming, just apologize.
Right.
He may not even be there for you, but just apologize. And definitely don't lie, because you knew the answer before you asked the question.
Often we had done enough work,
Right.
so we sort of knew what somebody was likely to say to us. I mean, I knew Ortiz was going to tell me that he didn't have a license. I already knew he didn't, of course.
Right.
But I wanted him to say that to me. But what I was going to say about sort of coming to Philadelphia and coming early on, so we did that story. And to Ortiz's defense, he did go get himself a license afterwards. He did have one. We never quite figured out why he never did.
Prior to,
but he did go get himself a license. But either way, I break that story, and the Daily News, less of a newspaper now than the tabloid, pretty strong in the city, they put him right on the cover.
Yeah.
They put him on the cover.
They roasted him, man.
They sit him in the car with a big head, and they say, I got no license or some sort of thing. You'll see it. The cover is in the Inquirer's story on me. They pulled it up and put it in there, and I thought, wow, here. You do a broadcast investigation, and the tabloid picks it up, and now you're riding together. That is a wave of reporting. I later did a story on some issues he had with unpaid parking tickets, and
This guy,
we did.
He's like, why did I invite him to my house? We got to pause. We got to take a quick break. We're going to come
do
back.
it.
We have to
going.
Right, you got to take a break. We going, big guy.
He's wearing the earpiece.
Let's chase him.
They're sitting there
What are
telling
you running
me.
for now, big guy?
That's a
Do a
valid point.
confront with Bill.
That's a solid point. Jeff's going to have some time now. I'm not trying to make an enemy as you go out the
He
door.
just said where he lives.
Dig it, right?
That's a solid point. We'll be right back. It's BAM. Jeff Cole's in the featured seat. His last day as he heads off into retirement after 25 years. Here, we're sharing stories, having fun. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in, because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 10:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I'm Isaiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored. New episodes weeknights at 9:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I was a quarterback at Hardaway High School. College first-round draft pick. During the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father and as a husband. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal. love your mind.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love your mind.
Bam! Bill, Alex, Mike.
go.
No Alex today. Jeff
Are you
Cole
gonna
in
shout
the
again?
featured
No,
scene.
no. It's just for the
happened?
intro.
It's only one time?
Yeah, it's just for the
What's that?
intro. It's just to wake people up. Let them
He
know we
doesn't
in their
normally
house.
tell you.
Hey, let's make
Yeah.
another music reference.
Okay.
Grover Washington Jr.
There you go.
Grover Washington Jr., who I'd listened to a lot before moving here, dies just as I move here. Because I thought I'll be able to see Grover Washington Jr.
Yeah.
somewhere. But Grover Washington Jr., also a great Philly player, also with a mural in the city, if folks don't know, a great horn player.
Great. And as a child, my father had season tickets to the Sixers at the old Spectrum. We sat section G, I still remember it. Across the aisle in section H is Grover Washington Jr. and his family. And so that's how you that whole group came together for that.
He recorded an album with a singer once. I can't remember her name, but that's when I really turned on to him. I think I saw him on the Today Show when he was with this woman who could sing, and I thought,
Performed
wow,
up at
who is
Kutztown University.
this?
My senior year.
Yeah.
The
he was no
music
joke.
department brought him in, and and I got a chance to see him perform up there in my senior year. I was like, dude, this is a treat.
This is a player.
I don't even know how I got into the audience, but I was in the building.
25 years here. Investigative reporting was kind of how you got into this.
Yeah.
Walking out the door, what are your biggest memories, things you're happiest with? I feel like you're leaving saying job well done, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that people who do this kind of work don't necessarily want to, aren't necessarily all that comfortable with praise, interestingly enough.
Okay.
I mean, I think we're much more interested in whether we had an impact, whether we made some sort of change. I think I did. I think in some...
There's a lot of politicians who think you did.
Yeah, and we had a certain style. It was loud. It involved lots of surveillance. We confronted people, which was a controversial sort of approach. But I thought my sort of hero in terms of journalism was Mike Wallace of 60 Minutes. Lots of younger folks wouldn't know him. He's Chris Wallace's dad, now gone. But he had that style. I thought that was one that worked. So I do think we were able to make some change in a city that I think still needs it. But I do think there's a sort of interesting balance because this is local TV news. And so I think there was a balance between sort of making change and making noise.
Right.
And so I think I sort of did both, and sometimes they melded. Sometimes it worked. There were times when it didn't. But we were certainly willing to take a shot, and this is one place to do it.
I mean, in this city, you got to make noise to make change, though.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just the way the city's built. If you're quiet, if you're not in somebody's face or, willing to engage, you're not going to have much impact anyway.
I think so. I think the other thing about Philly, and I've said it a couple of times, but I do think it's a city that has a tendency to break your heart if you care about the city.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
the loss of life that you can see here and the misery that you can see in certain communities, just, in the first 6 months of this year, I think 19 people have died in fires in this city. 19, many of them in homes that are old and don't have simple smoke detectors. Some people because they're careless, some people because they just haven't gotten them. 19, 2 or 3 kids die in the bathtub in the basement of a building in this city. So, and that isn't to speak to the horrific carnage brought by guns in the city as well. I've tried to do some reporting around guns, and so I think those things remain real challenges for the city of Philadelphia.
How do you get comfortable with because to make that level of change, to do the types of stories that you've done all over your career, you also have to be willing to take the heat.
Yeah.
Like there are people who are going to be unhappy with those stories. There
Sure.
are people who take it personally.
Yeah.
How do you develop that thick skin? Because knowing you,
Yeah.
like you care. So these things are hard.
Yeah, I think you got to commit to, once you know you're going that way, and in terms of the reporting you're doing, you've got to really work hard to try to get it right. And you can still be surprised, despite that, I think if you feel you're armed with that information, that you've got this thing, then away you go. And then I think you sort of take that shot. Listen, people shoot back. You know, I didn't do 16 and a half years or so investigative reporting and not get sued, and not people come for me. They absolutely come for you. And I had this tendency to become competitive too, put your chin out, here we go, and try to take some shots. So it was that sort of mix of trying to know what you're doing and also diving in, head first.
How'd you deal with the balance of family and work? And when I asked that question, right, and I know your team is in the building, I probably
family's
should be
in the room.
No, it's
in
fine.
front of the room, but I know they're probably just as excited about your retirement as you are at this point. But like, even with me, right, when I came off the street, my wife had a sense of relief.
Yeah.
Where she was like, yo, you ain't out here dealing with, what's going on in the city every single day anymore. You know what I'm saying? But I would go home at night after doing some of these stories.
Yeah.
She'd be like, you was on what? And you was where?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And knowing your approach to journalism, you put yourself in the line of fire often, man.
Right.
And so, to deal with saying, this is what my job is, this is what I'm going to do, but I also got to make sure that, my family feels comfortable in knowing that, or at least think that they're comfortable in knowing.
I wasn't as good at that as I should have been. I clearly was not. I think that a lot of times I hauled that home. And that was problematic, particularly when, and it's interesting, not so much of the safety stuff, because I think if you do this work and you're particularly concerned about your safety, then you're not in the right place. And I do want to just say this as an aside here: the work that we did, particularly investigative work, is ensemble work. Mark Lavala, John Campbell, Gary Circa, others who worked here. I worked with them. They shot. We had great editing. They were producing, Paul Ripple. All of that happens together. But in terms of how you dealt with it, I didn't do all that well in times. And it wasn't so much the safety issue. It was this idea of having to haul what we thought were big stories that meant potential legal challenges, to haul that stuff over the line and get it on air. And I did not do I was not always consistent about keeping that here. I would often haul that home. And that, didn't make often, or at least occasionally, for good times. Yeah. I think everybody comes out okay. But we'll see. There were a couple of guys
here
made for proud
They
times.
look all right.
There's a woman here with a different view.
Listen, we need to take our next break. But all of us get that in some capacity. I grew up being raised by somebody who was deeply involved in the media. Right. And there were a lot of times when you're younger, you're like, come on, you're home now. Can you leave at the office?
Well,
but at the end of the day,
it
you're very proud of the work when you become old enough to recognize the impact that they made. And I know we leave, with that impression.
And listen, there's nothing wrong with talk therapy either.
Yeah, listen,
it's a good way to go if you need it.
Well, all of us and all of you watching, go ahead and handle it.
Go get some therapy.
I know, right? We need to take our next break. This is BAM. Jeff Cole retires after 25 years in the featured seat with us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. Not wondering anymore. Love, your mind.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 10:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
I'm Isaiah Carey, here to shake things up with the stories that hit hard and matter most. Here on The Factor, we cover news with grit and authenticity. We challenge the status quo and get down to real talk and bold discussions. Join us as we amplify the voices that disrupt, inspire, and lead the charge for change. Your story is power, and we're here to unleash it.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored. New episodes weeknights at 9:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Music plays, the show back. Jeff Cole's in the featured seat with our music, trivia, and history.
We just want to make one more reference to music in this setting is Kenny Gamble of the Philadelphia Sound, the icon of music. And, of course, Teddy Pendergrass, the drummer in his band, drummer for Harold Melvin, right? Drummer for Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and he brings him forward as a soul singer. And Pendergrass is just an absolute star.
Wake up,
Just
everybody.
Knocks it out.
Kind of like the Pendergrass of this building.
You?
Yeah, I was kind of like a drummer before I got in front of the camera.
Yeah, that's it, Mike.
And now you're stuck.
And remember, Pendergrass has that unfortunate accident and ends up in a wheelchair, but still showed up here.
Yep.
And I remember seeing him coming in. But boy, if you haven't heard, listen to younger folks, Teddy Pendergrass. Boy, there's a voice.
He had the voice where if you wanted to be a singer, you wanted that.
Yeah.
You wanted
that
the Teddy
deep,
Pendergrass.
You got that.
Which didn't even really sound like he was singing. He was yelling at you sometimes, but
Absolute.
it still sounded good.
Absolute sex
off.
symbol.
Yeah,
Absolute sex symbol at the time.
He was killing him, man.
There's
Even
no
from the
question about
wheelchair,
it.
he was still killing him, man.
What is there a proudest moment or standout moment or a cringing moment, or are there a lot of them?
I mean, I think there are a good number of them. Standout moments. I mean, we talked about. I mean, the Ortiz was the first stuff. We knocked out the U.S. Marshal here once. He was the federally appointed U.S. Marshal. He was using Philadelphia police officers not to chase fugitives as he should have, but for sort of helping him personally. He lost his job. We did a state representative here who was funneling money toward family members that was knocked out.
You had a couple judges. Who was the judge that was running down the Jersey Shore every?
We did a judge who was not sort of spending a lot of time working as a judge. Remember that we did the 2023 mayoral debate through this station when I was doing much more politics, I think, which was a sort of defining event in the city in terms of the Democratic primary. You win the primary here, you become the mayor. Right. That was Sherelle Parker. We did that at Temple. That was a very well done event by everybody here. I was on the panel there. So all of those, I think that a lot of the less cringeworthy, but you cover violence here. You truly do. And just the other day I was in Tacony, and there was more blood on the front of a door, at the steps, running down the walkway into the street that I'd seen for a long time. So there is death and mayhem here, and all of that, plays on you, particularly the loss of life among young people that seems to happen here. And the real concern, I think, here is that young people are carrying and shooting at each other with weapons they should never have. And I think that sort of remains with me as well.
Are you going to miss the streets, man?
I am.
Really?
I will.
Okay.
There is no question about that. I mean, there's sort of adrenaline to that. The great thing about this work is that you are part of the conversation, right? When you go to the gym and people ask, what are you doing? They want to hear what you have to say about sort of the issues of the day. I will certainly miss the street. I should, it's now time to stop because I'm not sure it's great to do over a long period of time, but I certainly will miss it. I'll miss the city for sure.
We're sitting here talking about like having a nice little celebratory cocktail, making fun of Mike as he brings out the bottles.
There you go.
Mike got the keychain and everything ready to pop
Jeff
bottles.
came downstairs and said, "Where's the gin and tonic?"
So Mike
it just so happens.
There we go.
I got a little gin and tonic. And I know what you're thinking. Why do I have gin and tonic in the office, right?
Oh, you never know.
You never know when Jeff's going to retire.
Dave's get stressful.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. May I remind you that he's the only one who's retiring. The rest of us are still at work.
Everybody's an adult in the room.
There is a thing called forced retirement, by the way.
I know, right?
Yeah, Bill, I'm going to put you a little extra soda in yours.
We got about 2.5 minutes or so. Final thoughts, goodbyes. How do you feel about all this?
I think the city of Philadelphia is a fantastic place. You know, I think it is probably the best news city in the country. Maybe Chicago would rival it, a little bigger. But, you know, Philadelphia's mix of history, culture, its, you know, love of sports, of course, but also it's poverty. It is the biggest, poorest city in America, and it makes it a very intoxicating sort of mix to work in. You know, I want to see SEPTA funded in this city properly. I'd like to see education funded at a higher level. I'd like to see better housing. I'd like to see fewer guns. I think if that can happen in Philadelphia, then I think it'll be a better place. And I think the mayor is quite a great booster for the city of Philadelphia, and I think that will be helpful. It is truly a great city, and I hope to continue to see it rise.
We've got a minute.
All right.
left. Who
Quick
else is
toast,
here?
man.
Come in here, guys.
Cheers,
No?
man.
Congratulations.
You're not coming
Jeff.
in?
Come on, Bill. Just do the toast.
Come on,
here.
I
Come
was
on.
trying to get them in.
I don't have a cup for them.
The family is here.
They gonna drink out of
Here
Jeff's
we
cup.
go.
Cheers, man.
The family.
Cheers, man.
Want in on this? All right, here you go, guys.
Bill will drink his.
Jeff,
man. Cheers,
we
brother.
appreciate you. This has been a pleasure
Thank you, man.
to learn from you,
Appreciate it.
to
Cheers.
see your skills and your
Cheers.
talent. This city is going to miss you, but we certainly here at Fox 29 will miss
And
you.
it's been
Yeah.
a pleasure, man, to have
appreciate
had
it.
to know you and to work with you for these last 25 years, man.
really nice.
Inspiration and a
Appreciate it.
pleasure, man.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you,
me on your
man.
show.
The kids are here. The wife is here.
Right. It all worked out. It all worked out. Look how
worked out.
handsome my boys are. Come on.
Look at these guys, man.
This is good work by you. Now you can go out there.
They haven't seen my wife. She's fantastic.
Come on, you're not going to come
She's
in and say
great
goodbye.
looking.
Yeah, no parts.
Listen,
of this,
don't get her
man.
angry, man. I'm still living with her.
Yeah, we
Right.
might need to get her a shot. He's gonna be home all the time now. You thought it was a problem before.
All right, it's a wrap. Jeff, we've been saying it throughout the show. For our Fox Soul audience, this is Jeff Cole again. He has made a serious difference in this city, in this
sure.
community, at this station, and really across the country. And we just are happy we got the chance to spend some time, and thank you for all that you've done.
I appreciate it. It's been fun to be on the show. For your Fox Soul audience, come to the city of Philadelphia and eat and enjoy it and take part in the culture here. It truly is a great city.
And be fortunate that Jeff wasn't doing journalism in your neighborhood. Because you would have some problems. So you would have had some problems.
Community probably wants more
Right,
Jeff Cole.
right. We could use
Politicians
more- dig
be
it.
fortunate
Criminals?
that he wasn't there.
Listen,
And if Jeff continues to do work, just say I'm sorry.
people have said to me, they was like, yo, you got Jeff Cole's number? I'd be like, how much do you hate the person you calling Jeff for?
You did used to say that.
Yeah,
all the
like,
time.
yo,
Don't
'cause-
give him your number.
like,
You're gonna ruin the person.
He's gonna ruin. Jeff ruins lives when he shows up.
If they've done something wrong.
If they've done something to deserve
If they
it.
have done something wrong.
That's the wrap up on your career. You ruined lives. man.
Listen, his cats at home will applaud it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a new politician and Jeff is out, I'm good.
Yeah, that's it.
We appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Wish you
Appreciate
all the
brother.
best.
All the
Having me on.
best, man, to you and your family,
appreciate it.
man.
He's yours now. You guys go ahead and
You know what I'm
take
saying?
him golf or fishing or something. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again Monday. Have a good weekend.
Hey, besties!
What is a bestie?
I like you.
She's fun.
It's about to be a good time!
She's always looking out for you.
Since you're my bestie, I will handle it for you.
She makes you think.
Here to uplift and empower.
She's always encouraging.
You are that girl.
Chelsea Edwards, your bestie in daytime.
I get the spiritual moments.
Chatting with Chelsea. New episodes weekdays at 5:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
Hey, it's your girl, Carolina Sanchez, and The Nightcap is the late night show where no topic is off limits. Join me as we dive into the wild world of relationships, sex, and everything in between. From hilarious dating disasters to steamy secrets, you know we've got it all. We've got celebrity guests, expert advice, and a cocktail in hand. The Nightcap is your guilty pleasure. So grab your drink and tune in because the best stories start after dark.
The Nightcap. New episodes weeknights at 10:30 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams, ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face Off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Rapper 2, do you feel like you could say the N-word?
I feel like I can say it, but not because of that, and I'm gonna tell you why. I wish there was some black dudes in here.
There are. Where right there? And this one right here is not.
Okay, well, we're gonna use him.
Okay, that's my manager. Hey,
Because
Will.
me and Fee know what's up.
Well, you're black. Okay.
What the f are you gonna do about it, you know? And then second of all, I grew up loving these motherfuckers. I grew up fighting with them.